All right, so I'm Dr. Seth Noble. I am from Data Expedition Incorporated, and what we do is right there in our name. We're a company that expedites the movement of data. So what does that mean? It means that we make software to help move data files across the network really, really fast. And data files, what does that mean? We're at NAB. That means media files. It means part of media workflows. And we've been helping accelerate media workflows for companies from small production houses to the biggest movie studios for many years now. We even won an Emmy for it. So what we're going to talk about today is why that's important. Because in media and entertainment, almost more than any other industry, time is money. Any time you spent waiting for something to happen can cost you hundreds, thousands, millions of dollars. I've heard horror stories from customers who've had an editor being paid by the hour, sitting in a media bay that they're paying for by the hour, twiddling their thumbs, waiting for media assets to move up to the cloud or out to collaborators. That adds up a lot. So what can we do about that, especially in a cloud environment? With the advent of cloud, there's all sorts of infrastructure cost savings that are available, but you can't do anything in the cloud until the data actually gets there, and then it's distributed out to the collaborators, back to the cloud, back again. You're paying for that time. So Cloudian here helps with that a lot by moving some of those assets down into the local network where you can access them really, really fast. But some of the data still has to go up to the cloud. It still has to get distributed to collaborators back again. That's where we come in. We help with that portion of making the network from the local to the cloud faster. Now you might think, okay, I could just get a faster pipe. The problem is that legacy technologies often can't fill the pipe. You need two components, software and hardware. Making the hardware better still leaves the software that figures out how to get over things like congestion, latency. You probably noticed that when you're trying to send data files from, say, New York to Singapore, it takes a lot longer, even though you've got fast bandwidth. The software component is important. And that's where we come in. We make software that's able to figure out how fast that pipe should be going and fill that infrastructure. So how does that get back into the media workflow? Well, with Cloudian, they're down there making things go as fast as they can with the assets that come down to the local network. We're accelerating the part that goes up to the cloud and back. So time is money. Whoop. There we go. You've probably heard a lot of people talking about this around here. If you go around and look at people's booths, there's a number of people who use the word acceleration because they want to jump on this bandwagon. They want to talk to you about making those workflows go faster. But we're different. When we talk about acceleration, we are able to do it in ways that nobody else can. Number one is the technology that actually figures all this out. How do you get the data to go faster? With a lot of our competitors, it means spending hours of time on the phone with a network engineer trying to tune infrastructure in order to get that one path to go fast, and then you have to repeat this every single time you deploy their technology. Our multi-purpose transaction protocol is intelligent. It can figure out that pipe speed correctly every time. So you could have a laptop that moves from a satellite connection to hotel Wi-Fi to gigabit Ethernet. Each time it runs, it's smart enough to figure out what to do and make sure that you're saving time and money. That intelligence brings simplicity both to you and to your users and your customers. Our software is so easy that you can download it from our website and have it up and running in minutes. In fact, we're the only vendor that puts trial software available to do exactly that right on our website. And most of our customers have actually successfully deployed our software before they ever talk to us. That's a big difference from spending weeks to try to get a demo and hours on the phone with a network engineer like you'll get with some other technologies out there. Intelligence and simplicity come back into that money equation. It comes back to value. Because we make it very simple and because we focus on doing one thing only and one thing really well, we're able to sell our software for a fraction of the cost of what other people who claim to have acceleration do, typically about a fifth the cost of some of our competitors. And that again comes back to that fact that we just try to do this data transfer piece alone. People like Cloudian are really good at what they do. They're really good at figuring out caching and how to get S3 APIs to work on your local data. I'm not good at that. I'm good at making data go really fast across the network, so that's what I focus my software on. And what that means for you is that it's a lot less expensive, and when it comes to your users deploying it, it's that much easier. So we've sort of talked in abstract about media workflows, saving money through making things go faster. Let's take a look at what this actually means in practice for how you would deploy this and use it in your systems. We're in a booth called Cloudian, so let's talk about cloud first. CloudDat is our product that lets you do all of this data transfer really, really fast. And what do I mean by fast? If you've got a bunch of files or even just one really big file, we can move that up into AWS S3 storage at 2 gigabits per second. That is 838 gigabytes in an hour. And what will that cost you? Well, if you go with our subscription model through AWS Marketplace, $1.84. And you can move 838 gigabytes up into AWS. And we also support file transfer to all of the major cloud vendors. Now, the technology behind CloudDat is a file transfer application suite called ExpeDat. You put ExpeDat in the cloud, give it S3, it's CloudDat. ExpeDat takes this multi-purpose transaction protocol concept of 100% utilization, and it lets you use it in many, many different ways, from graphical clients to command lines that can be integrated into scripts to dumbed down user interfaces where all you have to do is drag and drop, which is great for people who are not so technical. Remember, the idea is to make this really easy to use. In fact, it's so easy to use that there's no installer. People can just take the executable. It's a single executable, not 1,000 files, not some emulated system. One little file, put it on a desktop, drag a file onto it, and it goes up to cloud or a server anywhere in the world. We also, because we like to work with expert people like Cloudian, make it really easy to integrate into other systems. Because we're talking about workflows. We're not talking about ad hoc file transfer. We're talking about media asset management systems. We're talking about post-production workflows. So we try to make this as easy as possible to take it and integrate it into your existing scripts, your existing applications, and work with other vendors to put it under the hood and give you the power to make use of it. Now, there's an even simpler concept, which is where I don't want to think about any of this stuff. I just got a bunch of files here. I got a bunch of files there. I want to make sure that whatever happens here happens there. That's our SyncDat product. It scans files at the rate of hundreds of thousands per minute to figure out what's changed and make those two folders identical. If you're used to using something like rsync or a synchronization utility that goes over NAS protocols like SMB, you know the scanning part can take hours. Some of our customers have come to us with stories of folder synchronizations that took days to complete just to figure out what needs to move. Because everything is done over a multi-purpose transaction protocol, even the scanning is fast, and once it figures out what it needs to move, it's able to move it very, very quickly. All of these products, we offer them licensed by the server. There's no charge for clients. There's no charge for bandwidth. Faster, slower, it doesn't matter. It's all the same to us, and we don't charge by how many bytes you transfer. We don't charge by how many files you have under management. All of those things that you're going to find in other people's different pricing models. We're trying to keep it simple, and that includes the pricing. I said before that we are the only vendor out there that offers free trials to download completely without talking to us. You can go to our website right now and download a trial. There's a form for contact information, but you don't have to wait for an email. As soon as you click submit, you get access to the files, and you can download immediately. We also have our AWS Marketplace 7-day trial of CloudDat, 838 gigabytes per hour. How much data can you move for free in 7 days of that? It's a lot. So one of the other things that we really like to do with our customers is work with them up front to help them understand how all of this works in their workflows. The trials are a part of that, but being responsive to questions is another big part of that. So anybody has any questions?
We have tested your product. Users are looking for an interface like FileZilla, drag and drop folder structure.
Right.
Which is missing right now.
So the question was about having different user interfaces and user interfaces like FileZilla, for example. So we have our ExpeDat desktop client, which is a graphical user interface that looks a lot like your typical FileZilla kind of FTP graphical, where you have local files on the left, remote files on the right. That can also interface with web pages for automation. We've got customers that have built entire web front ends to these systems. In addition to that, we have our DropDat interface, where an admin configures these little tiny desktop icons. It has the server, the username, the password, all built in, so the user doesn't have to know that. All they do is drag a file or a folder onto this icon, and away it goes. They don't have to interact with it at all. And then there's the customizable interfaces for command line, scripting. We have native executable code software development kits, all of which makes the integration easier. Did that answer your question? Anybody else?
QoS so that I don't modify using, say, a whole 10 gig line, I can send them at 4 gigabit.
Right, that's very important, because when you're transferring a file fast, you don't want to get a call from IT saying, hey, the teleconferences the CEO is on just crashed. What the heck are you guys doing? And one of the big differentiators, and this is important if you download a trial, our software doesn't try to take over the pipe. It's intelligent. It knows when there's other traffic on there, and it will back off. Now, if you go to our competitors, sometimes they'll be faster than us, but you're going to get that call from the CEO saying, why is my email down? Because they're blasting the network and blowing everything up. Now, there are settings in ours that if you really want to blow up the network, you can turn that dial. I don't recommend it, but you can do that. But the intelligent software makes sure that it's going to take care of the network. It's going to be fair as well as fast. And there's a whole bunch of settings in there to get really specific about that. For example, if you're doing voice over IP on a given path, you can say, don't exceed this round trip time, so that we can keep that. Or you can set specific bit rate targets. You can adjust what we call aggression to be more or less fair to the network, no matter what speed it is. All that's built in so that it's not only intelligent, but you have control. Any other questions?